Hey guys, what's going on? Antonio here. Welcome back to my tech channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about Cisco ASAv, installing it on Proxmox. But before we get to that, I'm going to talk a little bit, give an intro about what is ASAv. Many of you know, but for those who don't or are not familiar with it, I'm going to give a brief explanation and why using ASAv, the virtualized ASA. So in a nutshell, Cisco ASA is the firewall product for Cisco. It's the adaptive security appliances, and Cisco a few years back have introduced the virtualized one. Now, why do you use virtualized and not buy the hardware? Well, there are some advantages to using virtualized appliances. So one of them is when you are using virtualized appliances, the Cisco ASAv, you are utilizing your hypervisors. So if you have an infrastructure already, say for instance you have VMware, maybe Proxmox or the Microsoft hypervisors, you have the infrastructure, you have the hardware, you can buy the license from Cisco and you can spin a virtual machine with ASA and you are up and running and basically utilizing all the ASA features. Another advantage why to use an ASAv instead of hardware is procurement. Basically, when you are buying the hardware, it's gonna take time until you purchase and it's gonna be delivered, while an ASAv license will take a day or two to be delivered. Costs pretty much. Obviously, you have put an investment already on your hypervisor infrastructure, virtual infrastructure. So utilizing that, you're gonna save you a lot of costs because you're just buying the software license. Another reason why you should consider ASAv versus hardware is cloud. So if you're deploying it on AWS, GCP, or Azure, or whatever, it's very easy to deploy. Still, you actually need that. You cannot buy the hardware and send it to AWS, etc. So maybe that's your use case. Another advantage of using the ASAv is also when you want to scale up. So I think this is a very good argument. So imagine you have hardware, and your hardware is you have more users and your hardware resources are getting used up. When you have a firewall hardware, you have to buy a new one, redeploy, maybe move the configuration from the old one to the new one. You need downtime, maintenance, windows, etc. So if you want to scale up from a perspective of ASAv, if you have the resources in your hypervisors already, all you need to do is you buy a new license and you can then add the resources, your virtual resources, RAM, CPU, core, etc. to that virtual machine. So from that perspective, it's going to be very easy to do so. Another thing is that maybe some engineers would prefer the traditional hardware dedicated for the firewall, for the ASA. Maybe you're running VPN on it, you just want hardware, simple as that, and boom, you have that dedicated hardware for it. However, again, there's arguments around that, so it's an option out there. So I'm making this video for you to consider ASAv as an option. So let's go down to costs. So what does this ASAv cost? So at this point in time, I only have costs for the 1G license. So the 1G license for 3 years is roughly 1,000 USD, which is pretty much very good. I think if you would want to buy equipment, you would have to also add SmartNet to it. So it adds up quite a bit. So it's actually a very good way to save costs as well. Okay, with the boring stuff, the commercial side out of the way, let's get cracking with configuring a Cisco ASAv on Proxmox. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, we need to have a Cisco account, and we need to have Cisco Smart License enabled on our Cisco account. Of course, we purchase first the Cisco license, so that's done, as I said in the video earlier. to get in touch with the Cisco representative. If you don't have one, you can go on the Cisco website and you can pretty much get in touch with Cisco, and they can give you details for a Cisco representative, one that is close to you. So that once you are logged into your Cisco account, you would need to go to your software downloads. For the Cisco that is compatible with Proxmox, it's the QCOM2 package. So we are downloading the 9.20.2. Next thing, we'll upload this file to the Proxmox. I'm using SFTP. Then SSHing to the Proxmox server. Make sure that the file is there. I'm running the ls command, and you can see that the file is over there. Next thing I would like to do is I would like to create the virtual machine to the Proxmox server. Sorry, on the Proxmox server. We don't need a CD because we'll be attaching the disk that we have downloaded from cisco.com to the VM. You can also remove the disk. CPU, I recommend to put the type of CPU instead of emulating the host. So the CPU of the host will be attached directly to the virtual machine. It's just having better performance, really. It's up to you how many cores you attach to the virtual machine, and memory as well. So that's number one, creating the virtual machine. And once that's created, what we want to do is we want to attach that disk to the virtual machine. So there's the virtual disk ID, which in this case is VM100. Of course, I forgot to name it earlier, so I'm gonna name the virtual machine just to be easy to identify. Now we want to have a look at the Proxmox, and we want to attach that disk to the virtual machine. So there's a command that I'm typing here. I will put it in the description below. And it's pretty much what it's saying is just attach this disk to VM100. And once that's done, we'll be able to make it part of that virtual machine. So running that command should not take very long. Really, it's quite a small image. And if you add it now on the Proxmox, the virtual machine, you can see now that there's a disk there, unused disk. And what we want to do now is we want to add it to the virtual machine. And next thing, what we want to do is we want to get rid of that CD. Don't need it. Very important to add network interfaces. So I would recommend 3 minimum network interfaces, 1 for management, 1 for inside, and 1 for outside interfaces. You can add more, of course. I tend to remove the firewall, the Proxmox firewall on those interfaces, just to be sure nothing is doing anything there, blocking anything. And also attaching a serial port there is very, very important. Otherwise you'll have errors with the Cisco ASAv. The next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that the disk is enabled, and I want to make it enabled as well, and first to boot. So when I start the machine, it will use that disk to boot. Starting the machine, that's basically what we're doing now. So we're starting the machine without touching anything. It will automatically choose the image. Takes a few seconds. Now what's it doing is pretty much booting up this virtual machine. It goes through some first checks, I would say. First time it goes, I think, through the checks, and it tries to detect what hardware you have and also what is it running on. So you just need to be patient here. Doesn't take long, but yeah, just be a bit patient until it's basically doing its thing. you can ignore these errors for now. I could have also set up the virtual machine to be like type Linux, etc., but I wasn't bothered to do that. Not really important, I would say. So it looks like it's finished detecting things on the virtual machine, and now it's restarting for the final time. So once this is done, this is complete, we will have the usual prompt where it asks you to change your password. Okay, you got the Cisco ASAv prompt. As I said, first time you need to change your password. I'm going to configure a host name. Not so important, but I would like to do that first thing, just a habit. I want to check and show you the interfaces. So you can see there are 3 interfaces. One was assigned for management and 2 were assigned to 00 and 0/1, the inside and out I mentioned before. Once you boot your Cisco ASAv, your ASAv will be limited to 100 kilobits per second. And Cisco does that, so you'll purchase the license. Once you attach your license to use Cisco ASAv, you'll be able to throughput as much as you bought. So if you bought at 1 G per second, then you'll be able to throughput as much. As I promised in the beginning of the video, I would like to give you some tips. Number 1 is make sure you're running Proxmox 8.1 or a more recent version. Otherwise, your ASAv will not boot. Number 2 is make sure you install or attach a serial interface to your virtual machine. And number 3 is make sure your MTU is set to 1500 by placing parameter of 1 in your MTU field in the network interface. Otherwise, your Cisco ASAv will be dead slow. That's all I have for today. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. It will encourage me to make more videos. Until next time, peace.